Good evening. Thank you all for being here this evening. It is Monday, January the 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. and we are meeting at the Cherry Creek School District Instructional Support Facility. Happy New Year to all of you and thank you for being here. We appreciate your interest and involvement in Cherry Creek School District. At this time, if you're able, will you please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As you may have noticed this evening, Mr. Smith is not here this evening. He is not feeling well, so he will be Mr. Koenig will be filling in for him this evening. At this time, Ms. Egan, would you please read the land acknowledgement?
On behalf of this board and the Cherry Creek School District, I would like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Ute, and Osheti Shakowee people who stewarded for generations. The Osheti Shakowee includes 7 bands, so I would also like to recognize that over 40 additional tribal nations likely use this area for trade, ceremony, and social gatherings.
Thank you. At this time, may I have a motion to either approve or amend the agenda?
I move that we amend the agenda to remove Resolution 23.1.9, approval of revised policy JICDA, Conduct and Discipline Code.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Egan.
Aye.
Garland.
Aye.
McDonald.
Aye.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Directors Allen.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Egan.
Aye.
Garland. McDonald.
Thank you. That motion passes. Now may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the December 9th, 2022 Special Board of Education meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes for the December 9th, 2022 Special Board of Education meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? May I have a roll call, please?
Directors Allen.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Egan.
Aye.
Garland.
Aye.
McDonald. McDonald.
Aye.
Thank you. May I have a motion now? Sorry, that motion passes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the December 12th, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting?
Motion to approve minutes from the December 12th, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? May I have the roll call, please?
Directors Allen.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Egan.
Aye.
Garland. McDonald.
Thank you. And finally, may I have a motion to approve the minutes for the December 20th, 2022 Special Board of Education meeting?
Motion to approve minutes for December 20th, 2022 Special Board of Education meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Thank you. May I have the roll call, please?
Directors Allen.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Egan.
Aye.
Garland. McDonald.
Thank you. It is at this time we allow for individual comments from our Board of Education members. Director Allen, would you please start us this evening?
Thank you, Director Bates, and good evening and Happy New Year. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and thank you to our setup, security, and IT teams for preparing for this meeting. On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to recognize and celebrate the graduates of Endeavor High School. Endeavor provides an incredible opportunity for students to get a second chance at their high school educational pursuits. And our Endeavor students refuse to give up, and our teachers and staff at Endeavor are an incredible inspiration and a great example of what happens when kids feel the support and belief that they can do great things. These kids are incredible, and I applaud them. I often speak about the importance of literacy. I believe that in the United States, learning how reading to read is a right, not a privilege. Providing every student with the tools and education they need to learn how to read is critical to the success of all students, both in school and as they become contributing citizens to our global society. Over break, my flight, along with half of America's flight, was canceled. So I had some time to re-listen to a podcast I came across a couple of months ago that talks about the science of reading and the history of teaching reading and writing in America. The podcast is called Sold a Story by Emily Hanford. The podcast is captivating, pulls you in right away, and provides so much information on the need to teach the necessary foundational elements of reading, beginning with phonetic awareness and phonics, for a child's success at learning how to write and read. Children who can read and write at grade level have improved outcomes, less discipline and truancy issues while in school, and higher success rates throughout their lives. I applaud all of the work our district is doing in making reading accessible to our kids. And I also thank our teachers who have dedicated so much of their time to learn a new curriculum, or at least 2 new curriculums, and who are teaching our kids how to read and write with fidelity. All of our primary and special education teachers have been trained in the science of reading, and our district-wide literacy curriculum, much of which the teachers are using now, is based on the science of reading approach to literacy. Our district is also presently preparing a district-wide literacy program for grades pre-K through 12. The administrators in charge are asking for parent and community input on the literacy program, which is presently in draft form. The link to the draft and comment section is on our website, and I encourage you to use it to provide your input, because this truly is a community effort. I also take this opportunity to celebrate all of our students and teachers who have made a commitment to volunteering and public service. I was recently chatting with my neighbor, Jake Rusevich, a senior at Cherry Creek High School, and he asked me if I could help him spread the word about his volunteer organization called the Together Project. Jake is the co-vice president of the Together Project, and I was so interested in what he was doing, I asked him to tell me more. The Together Project provides free orthodontic and pediatric dental care to kids whose parents can't afford it. And the children are chosen based on a letter of recommendation and a proposal describing their vision for a community project they sponsor. Jake is involved as a mentor to the candidates that are selected, and as he helps them plan and execute their own service projects. More information on Together Project can be found through a Google search. And when I think about Jake, I think about what a great example this is of how our students are not waiting until adulthood to make a difference. I believe that we can all make a difference, and volunteering in community service projects and activities are a great way to be that change. And I just also wanted to take a moment to just say January is next week is Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. And I think it is so important that we take a moment out to recognize where we are as a country, where we came from, and where we are going. And I look forward to participating in a lot of events to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s history and what he's done for this country. Thank you all for your time, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Director Egan, please.
Good evening. Thank you, Director Bates. We appreciate your attendance and, as always, the hard work of our safety, security, and technology teams that make these meetings work. It's a new year. I hope you were able to reconnect with your family and friends, and I truly enjoy the time away. We observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day next Monday, January 16th, to celebrate the important life and work of Dr. King. It's time for Educator of the Year nominations. If you'd like to nominate an exceptional educator who represents CCSD's mission and vision, we encourage you to do so. The nomination form includes a requirement to upload 150 to 500 or 500 word written nomination as part of the process. And all teachers, special service providers, for instance, counselors, psychologists, social workers, nurses, and therapists, and non-teaching personnel, deans, instructional coaches, etc., are eligible for this nomination. It's also almost time for the Exceptional Volunteer Award reception at the end of this month. We are fortunate to have so many people dedicated to each and every one of our nearly 54,000 students and 9,000 staff. I was happy to help distribute Educator Initiative grant checks at district schools before winter break. These grants are awarded to individual classroom teachers or teams teaching within Cherry Creek schools. The grants are designed to encourage, facilitate, recognize, and reward innovative and creative instructional program objectives, and they really do touch all bases in our classrooms. It was an honor to attend the Winter Endeavor High School graduation on December 22nd. This happened to be the day when the temperature did not rise above 0 degrees, so it was also extra special to recognize these students and their families for braving the elements. Eagle Crest High School students and staff hosted a wonderful brunch before the break. They remembered the difficult first semester of this school year while looking forward to the rest of the year to come. In my role as board liaison to the District Accountability Committee, or DAC, I thought I would share a bit about the Unified Improvement Plan and school performance rating in this district. Each school in Colorado is assigned an overall school performance rating every year based on student performance and growth on state assessment. Each school develops a UIP outlining targets for performance and strategies to improve outcomes for all students. The district has one turnaround school, Polton Elementary, and 4 priority improvement schools, Sagebrush, East Ridge, Village East, and Prairie Middle School. All 5 schools are actively engaging parents and gathering input on developing the UIP. Congratulations to Cherry Creek High School's Blake Purchase on being named Gatorade Colorado Football Player of the Year. He is now a finalist for the national award. And Cherry Creek football coach Dave Logan was named 2022 All-Colorado Coach of the Year after leading Cherry Creek to their Class 5A 4-peat. The Esports Rocket League also celebrated their 2022-23 state championship in December. West Middle School students spread the message of connection with their production of Boat last month. During their rehearsals, the students also wanted to share the message of the performance through an art and writing contest using the theme, "We're all in the same boat." And yes, we are. Congratulations to Cherry Hills Village, Rolling Hills, and Holly Hills for receiving top school awards at the 22nd Annual Rich Morrow Math Challenge on December 3rd. I think Beyonce's words are a nice way to begin 2023. In our perfect ways, in the ways we are beautiful, in the ways we are human, we are here. Happy New Year. Let's make it ours. This concludes my comments.
Thank you, Ms. Egan. Director Garland, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Bates. Good evening and Happy New Year. The Cherry Creek Schools Foundation is excited to partner with the school district on the upcoming multi-month donation drive, where each of the 6 high schools will host a donation drive in honor of a different volunteer group. This month, Cherokee Trail High School and its feeder schools will be collecting canned goods, hygiene items, and other necessities in honor of the CCSD Board of Education. Donations are accepted until January 27th. The foundation also collected and distributed gift cards and food necessities to 200 plus families impacted by the displacement and other hardships last November and December. Mark your calendars. The foundation will be holding its annual gala in partnership with the district's Educator of the Year event. This event will be held on March 30th. At the end of the month, the GT office will be hosting the district spelling bee. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Garland. Ms. McDonald, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Bates, and good evening to everyone and Happy New Year. I trust that you had a refreshing break and now ready to resume our mission of ensuring the success of our Cherry Creek School District students. I'd like to share a little bit of news from District B, exemplifying community engagement, student and parent engagement. Over the holidays, Prairie Middle School, along with Overland High School, held a holiday food drive. They collected grocery store gift cards, brand new blankets, books, and card games to distribute to families while they shopped at a free mobile food market. This event was made possible by the generosity of many individuals, businesses, organizations, and including our Cherry Creek School District Foundation. Village East Elementary celebrated a community feast with more than 800 parents, grandparents, and community members. When I arrived, I was totally and pleasantly surprised. I thought I was just going to a cafeteria event, but the whole school was lined with tables, chairs, parents, and community members. So it was very exciting to see all of the parents and community members that turned out. I saw every hall lined with students and their family. Principal Robinson and her staff were well organized and welcoming to the Village's community. Both school events were a huge success. When we speak of engagement opportunities, these events were just two of many examples. Another great opportunity for engagement is to join our district-wide parent engagement group to have a voice and a seat at the table. To join, you can visit the website to find out more information. The conversation over 2 years ago concerning values that guide the work that everyone, and I mean everyone in Cherry Creek School District is doing, was positively demonstrated in the aforementioned schools. I would also like to send a shout out and congratulate Overland High School teacher Ariel Bergman. She was one of 150 people selected from 20,000 applications to help decorate the White House. You heard right, the White House. She spent a full week decorating the People's House. Ariel teaches career and technical education. More specifically, she teaches fashion and interior design. And I'm sure that her students will benefit from her amazing experience. Lastly, we are all aware that this month, as Mrs. I know her name, as Mrs. Allen alluded to, we are all aware that we will be celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. In a few days. Mr. King knew that great education lays the foundation of a society, one that is ethically and morally sound. Education expands our vision and develops capabilities to fight injustice. One must be educated to live a flawless life. By being educated, one can break out of social evils like racism and can stand out as equal with all the people of different castes, colors, or creeds. Mr. King said, and I quote, "I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their mind, and dignity and equality and freedom for their spirits." Thank you. This concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mrs. Garland. Good evening, and thank you again for joining us. As always, thank you to those that help make these meetings happen. Our setup, tear down, sound, whatever it takes, we appreciate you. Happy New Year and welcome to the second semester of 22-23 school year. This year seems to be flying by. Just before leaving for winter break, we were able to celebrate approximately 40 Endeavor Academy graduates. This is a time to celebrate students that have persevered through the many trials during their educational experience. To hear their stories and how Endeavor impacted their lives and led them to graduate is truly a success story. Had they not been referred to this school, many might not have lived, let alone graduate from high school. It is with great pride that I tell you that all of these graduates have postgraduate plans. Some will seek higher education programs, some will enter the military, and others will begin fulfilling careers. They all have plans that never would have come to fruition had Endeavor Academy not been an option in CCSD. Last month, I was able to attend SEAC, where parents heard about the amazing things that are happening in our safety department. If you have not heard Mr. Lopez and his team present on the various measures that are taken to ensure the safety of all in our school district, I encourage you to find time for his presentation. Parents learn something every time we hear these sessions. Another fun event was delivering educator initiative grants from Cherry Creek School Foundation to teacher recipients throughout the district. These grants are funded by donations the foundation receives through their annual gala. This December, I was fortunate to be able to participate with Liberty Middle School's ILC students. The class took a field trip to CCIC, where they were able to use the commercial kitchen to prepare treats that they would sell at their Eagles Cafe. We learned a lot being able to use the massive equipment, especially the dishwasher. This was a great opportunity for our students to learn about Pro Start and what they might be able to do in high school. The Eagles Cafe was started using past EIG funds. Each week, the students prepare a special food item to sell, along with the regular items of coffees, teas, sandwiches, and more. Thank you, Liberty Middle School, for inviting me to cook with the students. Ms. Grobel for helping get this field trip set up. And thank you to Principal Steve Day and the culinary department at CCIC. The students and I had a great experience. I am looking forward to the remainder of this school year. And once again, Happy New Year. Because today was a non-contact day and there was no school for our students, we do not have student speakers this evening. Mr. Koenig, do you have comments from Mr. Smith or?
I do.
All right, if you would.
So for Mr. Smith, hello everyone and Happy New Year. I hope you all enjoyed time with family and friends over the holiday season. I look forward to a positive rest of the school year. I apologize that I am not with you this evening as I do not feel well. I'm trying to get healthy. I do want to share one exciting piece of information with you. Through collaborative work in our negotiations team, including Cherry Creek Education Association, Human Resources, and our financial department, we were able to restructure our salary schedule. We took our current resources and compressed the salary schedule to make our starting salary extremely competitive while supporting those already in the system. The new structure will be in ratification with our teachers toward the end of the month. If and when approved, our starting salary for new teachers will be approximately $57,000, one of the highest in the Front Range. I appreciate the positive and productive relationships that were modeled by these teams to support our employees. I'm excited to see how this change will help with our recruitment and retention strategies. This also aligns to our presentation this evening from our Human Resources Department. I'd like to introduce Brenda Smith, our Chief Human Resources Officer, as she'll introduce the presenters this evening. Again, Happy New Year.
All right. President Bates, distinguished members of the board, thank you so much for having us here tonight. Our Human Resources team is very excited to share with you our 22-23 hiring report and all of the strategies that they have been putting into place over the last year and a half, working directly with our departments and multiple individual schools. With us tonight, we have three of our directors that are here. They have been very integral in making sure that these strategies have been put into place with our schools and our departments, and they have just been amazing in the work that they've done over the past year. We have Courtney Smith in the audience. She is our Director of Employee Relations. We have Alan Lavizo to my right. He is also a Director of Employee Relations. And then Tamara Spadell, who will be doing a majority of this presentation here tonight. She is our Director of Talent Management and Acquisition. We believe as a human resources team that we truly are the strategic partners across the system that work directly with all of our buildings and departments to make sure that we're maximizing and having extremely valued and qualified employees in all of the areas. We are very proud of the multiple departments and the multiple strategies that we have employed over the last 6 to 12 months that have really been very successful, and that's what Tamara's going to talk to you about tonight. Our recruitment across the board, we have 3 really big strategies that we've implemented, and one of them is specifically around recruitment and also retention. But we're going to be focusing in tonight on recruitment and why that is so important. Not only is it important for us to retain, but it's also important for us to recruit. What you've heard in past presentations is that the number of specifically teachers coming out of our colleges is lessening every year. And so the competition has become fairly tight across the state and even across the country in order for us to make sure that we not only get the best into our classrooms, but then we also retain the best. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Spadell, and she's going to talk to you about many of the strategies that they've been working on.
Good evening. So as you know, we are facing a teacher shortage, not only in the state of Colorado and in Cherry Creek, but across the nation. And school districts are becoming increasingly challenged to recruit and retain full-time teachers, particularly educators of color. And we're seeing a significant decrease, as Brenda mentioned, in enrollment in teacher preparation programs in our higher education institutions. So our Grow Our Own pathways are incredibly important for us to address this shortage. So these are the Grow Our Own pathways that we have here in Cherry Creek, some of which are focused on classified and some on certified positions. The first pathway focuses on our apprenticeship programs. We currently have the Future Educator program, which supports our high school students who want to become educators. It's a multi-year program that allows us to hire current high school students in as paraeducators part-time in our elementary schools, while they're also earning college credit at that same time toward an education degree. This is a partnership with UCD. We also have the UCD Next Gen program, and this partnership is helping to build a pipeline of educators who they're education students that are in college, and they're working in right now one of our elementary schools, which is Village East. We hope to be expanding into other schools as well in the future, in which they're hired as paraeducators their first year of college, and then as they progress through their 4 years of college, they gradually spend their last year of their education program working as a student teacher in our school for the entire year. We also have opportunities for our students to work in various apprenticeship programs in collaboration with industry partners. These allow our students to gain amazing skills and certifications in areas like IT, advanced engineering, health services, hospitality, vehicle maintenance, all of which conveniently we also hire for in the district. So we are really excited about that. We also have partnerships with over 20 universities to help us funnel student teachers into Cherry Creek. This year, we've branched out into some of our neighboring states and beyond. We have student teachers that are with us this semester from Kansas State University, from Wyoming, Northern Iowa, Arizona, and Utah. We typically have about 50 to 60 student teachers each year, and we end up hiring a lot of them into Cherry Creek when they're finished with their programs. And one of our most fruitful partnerships for this is with the University of Northern Colorado Center for Urban Education. This is a really wonderful program. It's very unique in that it allows it's a pathway for our paraprofessionals to earn a bachelor's degree as well as their teaching license, and they can do that in either early childhood, elementary, or special education programs. And they are allowed to or able to continue to work part-time as a paraeducator while then attending classes for the rest of their day. And we have found that, so last year we met with many of our paraprofessionals. I think we had about 20 who came. We started having more meetings again. We've had about 64 who've RSVP'd to get more information about the programs. And typically the Center for Urban Education sees about 7 or 8 students who join that program in January. And we're really excited because this January we have 22 of our paraeducators. So we're really excited, and we're feeling like these collective recruiting efforts are really paying off. And finally, we have some alternative licensure and TEE or temporary educator eligibility pathways. So an alternative licensure allows us to hire someone who has a bachelor's degree and is in the process of getting their teacher preparation program. So they're attending classes, but they're also serving as a teacher for us during their regular school day. We also have the temporary educator eligibility, and that is specifically geared toward our special education and special service providers. So these are also folks who have a bachelor's degree already, but are also in school to become special educators or special service providers. So we do continue to attend job fairs, although we do see a decrease in attendees, and this is not just specific to education, we're seeing that across industries. We've also learned that our out-of-state fairs don't really give us a large return. The candidates who make their way out to Cherry Creek or who make their way out to Colorado already had plans and intentions of doing so before we even get there. While we have attended several job fairs over the past several months, both virtually and in person, our most successful are those that we put on ourselves. And in fact, our last Cherry Creek Certified Job Fair, which was held last February, we had over 200 attendees who had an opportunity to participate in screening interviews with many of our administrators, and we ended up hiring about 1 out of 4 of those attendees at that particular interviewing fair. And we will have another one this coming February, so keep your eyes out for that. We've also held or attended some job fairs specific towards classified positions. Again, not a large amount of attendees, but we did find we attended one this year that we hadn't been to before, which was in October, and it was held at Metro State, and it was the Society of Hispanic Human Resource Professionals, which brought in a variety of people with a variety of background and interests and degrees. We did speak with quite a few candidates who were interested in food and nutrition services, but what we found was we actually spoke to a lot of folks who already had a bachelor's and were very excited about the alternative licensure program going into teaching. So we were really excited about that. We've also had a recruiting partner, Urban Recruiting, that has helped to target some of our recruiting and hiring efforts around food and nutrition, health services, our paraeducators, security, and transportation. And this month, we are starting in Cherry Creek that our employees are eligible to receive a $500 referral bonus for referring a candidate for employment in any of our benefit eligible classified positions, and they will get that bonus after the referred candidate has been hired and has worked 90 days. So that makes us wonder, how are people finding us? How are they finding out about our jobs? How are they finding about our district? And so this particular graph kind of shows the breakdown for how folks are finding out about the job openings. And you can see that our district website takes the largest portion of that. And then second to that is being referred by somebody who already works for the district. So that is very encouraging that people love working here. They know that we are one of the best employers in the state, and so they're seeking out and trying to have their friends and family join with us. So that also helps us know how to best market ourselves. In the past, we've been able to recruit just based on our reputation. And while we are still a very highly regarded school district and one of the best employers in the state, we need to investigate ways to make our district, our jobs, and why people belong in Cherry Creek. We need to market that much more intensively. So we are partnering with our communications office to begin to market outside of our own social media platforms. We have a great partnership with CCEA, our Teachers Association. And as you heard through comments from Mr. Koenig, from Mr. Smith, we're really excited about the possibility of a new salary schedule that it will be voted on before the end of this month, which makes us highly competitive amongst all the other districts around the Front Range, and will be leading the way in first-year teacher salaries. So you can see all of the work that we've been doing really leads into this vision that we have for recruitment. We want to recruit and hire the best quality teachers that we can and educators that we can. And we are going to do this by continuing to strengthen our partnerships with our outside organizations, beefing up our marketing and continuing to grow our own programs. Because we do want our students to see themselves represented in the teachers and the staff that they're working with every day. This is, as probably you've seen in previous presentations, this is the current landscape of our student demographics compared to our licensed staff demographics. And here's just a breakdown of how our licensed educators break down. And just kind of some historical data over the past 4 school years of how our student demographics, or sorry, how our white and licensed educators of color compare. Here's the breakdown of the demographic information of our new hires over the past 2 school years. So you can see that we are increasing our new hires in who are licensed educators of color, which is very exciting to us and most importantly to our students. That's it. Any questions?
That's it. We're ready for questions, whatever you are. I can add a lot more, but.
To be support. Okay, sorry. Anyway. All right, well, thank you. I appreciate all that your team has done, especially this past year. And we've heard your presentations many times, but I appreciate all the innovative ways that you have looked to be able to hire and retain our teachers. So I appreciate that we're looking at different ways, not just the typical hiring process. So let me ask the rest of our board members if they have questions, and we will start with Ms. Hegan.
Thank you, Mrs. Bates. So I appreciate hearing this. This is great. Thank you for all your work on the salary schedule. That's been huge, and I can't stress enough even to our audience how much work this has been and how great this will be. So we will be voting on this coming up. So thanks again for working on that. I wanted to also just really commend you for the alternative licensure that you've done and the temporary licensing. I think that's been huge, kind of ways to figure out how we work around this, particularly during COVID when this was really a struggle. So that was great to be thinking outside of the box on that. I don't really have any specific questions, but although I do wonder how many students are currently in the future educator pathways. Where's Sarah?
Sarah,
Okay,
Sarah,
guys. Sarah, I know has this answer.
Okay. Okay, and how does their day work? You alluded to it, but how does their day work?
Friday works, but because on some weeks they might have a day that they would have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then they might show up actually that week for up to 20. For kids that might be in a traditional classroom setting, so they either go mornings or afternoons. So at Cherry Creek High School for day, they would either go periods 1 through 4 at an elementary school or 5 through 8. They've been great though, and our kids love it.
That's great. That's all I have. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Allen, would you go next, please?
Of course. Thank you for your presentation. I, this just as I read articles about, how come no one's going to college for teaching, and that breaks my heart. At the same time, the way that you've creatively come up with some solutions is incredible, and I appreciate that. My first comment is that the slide that you had shown, the increase of teachers of color from 16% to 20%. I appreciate that information because last year I know that you had a plan to try to recruit teachers of color, recruit teachers that look like our students, and to see that that percent increase is incredible. Is there a continued plan for pursuing our teachers of color to hire?
Absolutely. So we continue to partner with all of our colleges. The University of Northern Colorado, and that partnership is going to be very valuable to us. Many of the students that attend through that program are individuals of color. I think it's important to talk about how we recruit, but I think a piece of information that Mr. Lavazo can share from the data that he has collected is not only are we recruiting, but we're also retaining at much higher levels than we've done in the past. I'll let you share the piece of data if you'd like.
I guess I am going to speak. Good morning, everybody. So yes, this is some celebrations as we were looking at the data, and I was pulling up all of our retention data from 2021 into this school year 2022-23. And what we were able to find is that 91% of our educators of color retained from last year to this year. So that is a huge celebration. We talk about the retention efforts that we're trying to do and making sure that all of our staff members, but specifically our educators of color, feel valued, feel heard, feel seen, feel respected in their space, and their lived experiences are acknowledged. That 91% of our educators of color retained from last year to this year. And we hired 42% more educators of color than we lost last year. So not only are we retaining our educators of color, but we are continually working and focused on recruiting and hiring educators of color so that our demographics can more mirror what our student population looks like as well.
And we get to share that data, but ultimately it's the efforts of the executive directors of schools who are sitting in the back working directly with our principals. It's the efforts coming out of Mr. Giles' office and all across many of our departments. And so we get to actually share this data with you, but it's definitely a team effort across the system to ensure that we continue to attract and retain individuals of color in all of our departments and positions.
Well, thank you and congratulations. I consider that a victory that I think we'll continue to see growth in also. So thank you. And so in terms of how do people find out about all of these programs? Because freshmen in high school, first year high school student, they think they have an interest in teaching. Where do they go? How do they know who to ask? Just to find out that what is available, what we're offering as we grow our own.
So I do know, and Sarah would probably be able to answer this better than I can, but I do know that they market it throughout all the high schools so that students are aware.
Through our counselors and teachers who are in the high schools that identify kids who they think either might make a great teacher or who have expressed interest in teaching. And the counseling department really helps get the word out in those programs to our kids.
But we've also worked, if they're not in our schools and maybe they're a paraprofessional or a recent graduate and they want to go through either University of Northern Colorado or even a parent that might want to go through the alternative licensure program, we're working directly with our communications department, but we advertise out through our schools. And that's how we get a majority of individuals that are interested. But also the University of Northern Colorado and Trendlines are helping us to get that information out. So they're working directly with us. They have just as much opportunity to grow their program as we are to grow our teachers. And so it's definitely a partnership for us to be able to do that.
And it does sound like an incredible partnership. So.
Absolutely, it is.
And then one other question, when you were talking about the job fairs the job fairs and the challenges you're having, you found it more effective. It seems like you're finding it more effective to have our own job fairs rather than, is there a plan to then just cut that out if it's no longer effective? Or
we are probably going to phase them out a little bit. I don't know that we would entirely cut them out because it's a great way for us to get out and market ourselves just as a district. Even if maybe we don't bring back a whole lot of teachers, at least we're getting ourselves out there more in the public eye and really letting people understand what we have to offer in the district.
And we don't attend as many out of state. I mean, we attend very few compared to if you've heard our presentations maybe 10 years ago. There was a lot of travel involved and trying to recruit out of state. But now because of the online ability. That's been really helpful. Also, by having our own has been tremendously helpful by getting out staffing earlier and able to be the first district out there to run a job fair. That's been extremely beneficial when it comes to getting the best of the best right out of college.
Thank you for your presentation, and I echo Mrs. Egan's comments regarding the salary schedule and how, I know it was incredibly challenging, and I applaud the way you worked with the CCEA to get the proposal finalized, and I'm looking forward to hearing what happens. Thank you.
And that's what I was going to recognize Casey Ellis in the audience. Casey's our president, and she has been phenomenal working along with us and really flexible in how we think outside the box in order to do this.
So thank you to Mrs. Ellis also. Thank you.
Okay, Director Garland, please.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I know when we gave this presentation last year, I didn't have questions. I just said, I just want to see receipts. And thank you for the receipts. The increase and not only the hiring, but more importantly, the retention. I think we've always had the hiring part down pat, but it was the retention piece that needed to be sharpened. So I appreciate that. And thank you for all your work with that. And I'll say it again, if we live out our core values, we will have more teachers of color in the next 10 to 20 years. And so I believe teaching is a profession, just like doctors, lawyers, accountants. Teachers ought to be right in there, and so should their pay. So 57,000 is great, but we need to keep going. So, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McDonald, please.
Thank you. And thank you for a great presentation. And I don't have any questions, but I will say this. I am very excited when I hear about the Grow Our Own teachers, because I think it speaks volume when you run into a teacher who is a former student, and that in itself is an inspiration and a marketing, because then students can say, well, maybe I can come back and teach. So I really am excited when I hear about that program, and I do appreciate all the work that you all have done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again. And I will say that I was excited about that we have 22 paras. Is that what I heard you said, that are attending the UNC urban program? So I'm excited to see that, because we know those paras are good workers in our school. So I was excited to see that. Also, and as a parent of 2 future educators, I'm glad to see that our pay salary is increasing for those people. I just wish that our cost of living would stop raising as well, because one of my kids won't be coming back to Cherry Creek for that reason. So I appreciate that. That's good work. So thank you so much for all you do. All right, it is at this time in our meeting that we make time for members of the audience who have completed the online public comment form prior to 12 noon today to address the Board of Education. For everyone to be heard, please limit your comments to a maximum of 2 minutes. A buzzer will sound at the end of the 2 minutes, and the microphone and audio will automatically be muted. Each speaker may only speak once during public comment. Speaking time may not be shared between speakers. This is your opportunity to make comments to the Board of Education in accordance with board policy. It is not a question and answer session. Please confine your comments to matters that are germane to the business of the district. Further, please recognize that students attend most of our meetings. Any speaker whose statements or behavior are unrelated to the business of the district, appear threatening or unsafe or inappropriate for K-12 students may be interrupted or warned, and their opportunity for comment terminated. Audience members who speak are asked to do so in a respectful manner, and the audience is encouraged to listen respectfully. Any speaker or audience member who disrupts the good order of the board meeting, including the speaking time of others, may be asked to leave. We are very interested in your feedback and will listen carefully. On behalf of this board, I want to thank you in advance for your comments and for taking time to come to tonight's meeting. Mr. Koenig, please invite the first group of speakers to line up.
I'll call 5 names at a time. Please line up in order behind the podium there. When you start, if you can state your name, please. First, I've got Jen Gibbons, Chip Boykin, Maureen Welch, Jillian Janus, Ruthie Lustico.
Hi, I'm Jen Gibbons. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about something that I'm very passionate about. My daughter and I, in 2020, did TikTok videos. We did dance videos. My daughters thought it was funny that I could perform all the dance trends. So we did them on TikTok, and we became very popular very quickly. Our content was wholesome, but what shocked me was how many little girls were our followers. Most of our followers were little girls, 9 and 10. It was very shocking how many children had access to the material online. More than the average of children who get smartphones is age 10. And is there any surprise that our mental illness among our little girls started to rise around 2012 when the start of Instagram was 2010? So I would like to, with Cherry Creek Parent Advocacy Network and along with Cherry Creek School District, I would love to launch an aggressive media campaign called Social Media Later, along with another campaign called Wait Until 8th, where we encourage people to not only make a pledge to not get a smartphone until 8th grade, but to do social media later, at least until high school. There's a group of little girls that I know that don't have social media. They're sophomores, and they said we got a phone later on in life, and by the time it came when my parents decided to give me permission to get on social media, I didn't want to. I wasn't missing anything. And these girls are the most well-rounded, healthy individuals, and I would love to work together. Hopefully, I'm going to reach out to you more formally, but I would love to do that with you, and I think it would make a huge difference and protect our kids who are prone to mental illness, especially our LGBTQ community, who especially need our protection and our help. Thanks.
My name is Chip Boykin. I'm the relative of the first Black cadet to attend West Point, son of a World War II vet, the nephew of Lieutenant Colonel Charles A. Train Dryden, one of the first Tuskegee Airmen fighter pilots, and Lieutenant Irma Dryden, a Tuskegee Army Air Corps nurse. I also spent 20 years in the U.S. Navy at the rank of Lieutenant Commander. I was present last meeting when an audience member asked, what would veterans think about a CCSD administrator not saluting the flag or crossing their heart, etc.? That question was asked after our uniformed vets left and in a format that allowed no response from the remaining vets. They then proceeded to offer their opinion as if it represented our thoughts and feelings on the subject. I found this to be about as disingenuous as it gets. What we think is saluting the flag, a flag on your house and on your pickup trucks, is of little consequence to us when you walk away and in the next breath fight accurate presentation of U.S. history in our school district, deny rights to minorities, immigrants, the LGBTQ community, and let the N-word flow off your tongue as you try and run me down with a vehicle while I'm in my Navy dress blues. We think you need to do better to live up to the ideals and promises of this country in your everyday actions. Otherwise, your thank you for your service is a worthless platitude. We find it dishonorable and offensive to have once again our service and sacrifice used as a prop to advance someone's political agenda. More importantly, to demean and besmirch an administrator of the Cherry Creek School District. If you ask us what we think, at least let us have the courtesy of a law.
Thank you. Your time is up.
My name is Jillian Janus. I am here to talk about the decision, or asking you to rescind the decision to exit the IGA for Remsel. Sorry, I'm really nervous. Going to take a deep breath. So I have 4 children. 3 are of school aged and they attend Remsel. My kids can go K through 12 to the same school, that same community. They can know a teacher from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Families like myself were willing to make that drive. I live 5 minutes from ISF, and we take our kids happily every day. It meets the needs of my learners, especially my oldest. That small environment and community is really what she needs to be successful and feel that community. If you ask my children, they say Remsel is great because of the crew trips that they get to take and those experiences with not only their peers, but with adults in the community. And they also say that their crew values are what makes Remsel great for them. Before we moved to Colorado, I went and I toured Remsel. And after seeing, there was like, I don't remember what classroom, what grade, but they were studying prairie dogs. And those kids weren't actually there that day because they had taken a bike hike to go and find prairie dogs and see all the things that they learned about in the classroom. So when we talk about hands-on learning and experience, that's what they do on a monthly basis. Last, we were talking a lot about community and engagement. They just did an Empty Bowls event, which art and tech and the classroom worked together. These kids put in a lot of effort, raised a lot of money, and it's going right back to the community.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Hello, my name is Maureen Welch, and I'm here again to ask for live streaming of these meetings, Board of Education meetings. With 55,000 students served and going to remote on during the pandemic, the excuse of not having the technology just rings very untrue. I wanted to give a quote from the Colorado Public Radio story about this issue from December 20th. And it is the quote from me where I said, "I think it's a travesty that only able-bodied, privileged people like myself are able to get here, are the ones who are able to listen to these meetings and speak to the board. So I really urge the board in the name of equity to consider this. It's also a travesty that this school district does not stream their parent advisory committees. In fact, there's no record of the SEAC meetings or business available online. I've been asking for this all fall, and numerous members of the SEAC community who attend those meetings came up to me after I spoke about this and said they would participate more if the meetings were streamed. I've worked on this issue all fall, escalating it appropriately through district staff, but I was told by special ed staff that they need to consider waiting on the Board of Education to update the bylaws before they could make a decision. This makes no sense. So since the district could not do this voluntarily, I requested a disability accommodation for both the board streaming and for the SEAC meetings under the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act. I'm a protected class because of my son's disability. Today I was denied both. The SEAC was denied by Ms. Avalos, and someone wrote an email, I don't know if you're aware of it, on behalf of the Board of Education denying my disability request for streaming this meeting tonight. And I'm not sure if council was consulted on this because it came back so quick to me that it seemed to me it was staff making this decision. So I appreciate your attention to this. It comes from a place of wanting more involvement, inclusion, and equity for everyone in this large district. Thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Ruthie Lestico, and thank you very much for giving us time to talk. I am also a Remsel parent. I am in the Cherry Creek School District, and we have a kindergartner and a second grader, but this is the first year we've had both our kids at the school, and I just want to let you know how impressed I am with how happy my kids are at the school. My second grader had a lot of issues reading, and she sat down tonight before we came with a book at the dinner table, which was a huge success. So that small size and just the citizenship that they teach to the Remsel students, they really teach them to be good citizens. They teach diversity, they teach inclusion. I've just been so blown away by what they can do for our students. So I'd love to say that I would love for the Cherry Creek School District to reconsider withdrawing from the IGA. I understand that, it's renewed every 5 years, makes sense. Things change, things need to happen. But the way in which it was done so quickly, it was renewed in June and then pulled out very quickly in the fall. And so I would just love to invite more conversations from the school board with Remsel or the important parties that need to be involved as, why. The Cherry Creek
school districts' families have lost an asset by not being able to have their Remsel spots. Yeah, you can still go to Remsel being in the Cherry Creek School District, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And I am so thankful that we did it now because it would have been a lot harder before. So on behalf of Cherry Creek families, I would love to include Remsel because it is such a good asset for me and my family, and what they stand for is in line with Cherry Creek School District vision. Thank you.
Tyler Coriel, Keith Bierman, Rima Wadan, Chad Burns, Steve Stedman.
Hello, my name is Tyler Coriel. I am a founding sixth grader at Colorado Skies Academy, and I graduated from middle school last May. I'm here tonight to tell you about my experiences there. So some of the experience I had were we all had hands-on projects. My sixth grade year, we got to launch a hot air balloon. Not necessarily a hot air balloon, but a weather balloon into the atmosphere. And we collected the scientific data. And we had to do another project about measuring the scientific data and breaking it down. Let's see. Some of the facilitators there are very nice. The new principal is very nice. Thank you.
My name is Keith Bierman. I'm also the parent of a Remsel student. I would like to speak to the decision to withdraw from the IGA. I have neither received nor seen any action on the issues raised in my remarks from the November 14th meeting, which were submitted in writing as well as raised verbally. CRS 24-6401 seems to be straightforward. The topic of withdrawing from the BOCES was neither noticed nor discussed on record before the special meeting where the item was voted on. This was an abusive process and procedurally should be reversed. On this board's webpage, we find the noble sentiment: the board invites citizen involvement in the schools, believing that a quality education is a responsibility all must share. But how can citizens be involved when the board acts in secret, without prior notice, and without even publishing minutes of its decision? The district's motto is dedicated to excellence, from which one would infer that the board's intent is to provide district students with opportunities to excel, which seems diametrically opposed to removing Remsel as an option for district students. Remsel has been awarded accreditation with distinction. Remsel outperforms CCSD in numerous academic metrics. Since it costs the district nothing to provide Remsel as an option to students, how did withdrawing from the Remsel BOCES support excellence? As I requested in November, please revisit this issue. Provide public notice as required by statute and according to your stated policy. Aside from the procedural faults, this decision should be rescinded for the good of the district's children. Our son is fine, he's already in. But we are concerned for the Creek students that are on the waiting list and those who will be applying for the first time. Pulling out significantly changes their odds of getting into Remsel. Just saying go through Remsel's enrollment process isn't okay and it's not enough. Withdrawal has decreased the like.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Good evening. My name is Rima, and I'm a parent and alum of the district. I come to you for two key issues. The first one is actually Board of Education online recordings of these meetings and the protecting the DEI past meetings at our school. First, the Board of Education online meetings is a couple months ago, you guys have agreed to put them online. And with the content that is shared, I think a lot of parents do feel invested in hearing the comments, even though it's not live stream. I think we do get full coverage of what the information is there. What I'm afraid and strongly urge you against is to remove the parents' comments. That can be an amplified voices or concerns of people just coming to take the mic for alternative reasons. So I'm urging you to take those comments off the page. And I definitely do not want to be a parent who's advocating for my child in the district and to be seen with my verbiage on some parent advocacy's page, as we have seen with other parents that are advocating for DEI and goals of the district. That's the first one. Second, protecting DEI past meetings at our school. I've spoken about this in the past and reiterating the urgency today. A past meeting is intended for a safe space for parents, students, and staff. When we open our meetings for online Zoom platform to allow more parents to engage and be more equitable, we get Zoom bombed. We have our meetings systematically Zoom bombed by parents who do not attend our school. They do not attend the district sometimes. And so what was done this actually happened at a district past meeting where parents who do not have children that parents of color or children of color. So I would like to know what our district is doing to protect these parents, faculty and staff from these unnecessary and often dangerous interruptions or taking up our space, and how can we protect our meeting if our members do not feel safe or certain. The urgency of this matters because our children deserve nothing less.
Good evening. Thank you to the Board of Education, staff of the Cherry Creek School District for allowing us to address you this evening. My name is Chad Burns. I'm the Executive Director of the Rocky Mountain School of Expeditionary Learning, also known as REMSL. REMSL was established as a part of a visionary partnership between 3 local school districts and the Public Education and Business Coalition during the 1992-1993 school year. At the time, Superintendent Shirkey of the Cherry Creek School District led and supported the establishment of an additional learning option and pathway for students of the district. REMSL is celebrating 30 years of excellence in operation, fulfilling the Cherry Creek motto of dedicated to excellence, doing so by offering an alternative school choice to residents of the district. This partnership has been in good standing under the leadership of Superintendents Moses, Chesley, Bull, Siegfried, and unanimously supported by 30 years of Cherry Creek Schools Board of Education. 30% of the student body at REMSL is composed of Cherry Creek school districts seeking an alternative educational pathway. REMSL has been accredited with distinction by the Colorado Department of Education since 2014 in both academic achievement and academic growth. On Friday, October 28, 2022, the Cherry Creek Board of Education convened a special meeting of the board, voting to terminate the partnership with REMSL. Effective June 30th, 2024, residents of the district will no longer have REMSL as a choice program option. Here this evening to ask the board and staff of the district to consider re-engaging with the board of REMSL and withdrawing the termination of partnership. On behalf of REMSL, our community would like for the residents of the district to continue to have an expeditionary learning school option for families that is not represented in the district's current school options. Cherry Creek has a tradition of seeking to support students in pursuit of excellence. We share this vision at REMSL and would welcome the opportunity to continuing providing school choice alongside the other exceptional schools in the district. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Steve Stedman. I'm the parent of 2 children that attend Rocky Mountain School of Expeditionary Learning. Josh is a junior. He has attended since he was in kindergarten. His younger brother, Dominic, is 8 years old. He is in 2nd grade. I am joining with my friends from our school to ask you to please reconsider your earlier decision. I know that can't be easy. It's backing up the truck. You know, nobody likes to do it after you've decided. But please consider that. Before I came over here tonight, I got on the computer and I looked at the Colorado Association of School Boards website. And they said school boards have 2 types of relationships with the community. One is corporate. You got your lawyer right there. That's the corporate side. The other is familial. It's to react to the community. We are family with you. Why can't we have a sit down? Why shouldn't we understand? Hey, even if the answer is no at the end, at least we know what we have up ahead of us. So I ask you to think about that. Then I want to tell one story about my grandson, Dominic. He's all happy one day, comes out, he's got a certificate. He says, Papa, look at this. I got this from my teacher and the other kids voted for it. It's a certificate of excellence or integrity. And I thought, well, you know, they hand out a lot of certificates and stuff like that in schools, and that's all great. So I said, well, Dominic, what does that mean? And he said, well, Papa, that just means that you do the right thing when no one's looking. I ask the same of you. Thank you.
Melissa Berglund, Ruthie Knowles, Deidre Christopher, Bill Vanderloot, Shemaine Navarro.
Hello, my name is Deidre Christopher, and I am a senior at the Rocky Mountain School of Expeditionary Learning. And I am very displeased with your decision to exit the intergovernmental agreement and sever the longstanding partnership with Remsel. As both a member and a leader in my community at Remsel, I think it's important to stress the unique opportunities that this school provides its students. We offer things like an internship for high school students where we can shadow an expert in a field of study of our interest for about 2 to 5 weeks, and that can help students determine their passions, while giving students real-world experiences and responsibilities outside of the classroom. The school also requires every student to perform service hours. This forces students to engage in, think about, and give back to their community. Remsel doesn't just provide the typical education. They teach life skills and can bring together people from different backgrounds that have different interests and create an outstanding community where everyone and anyone can feel welcome, all while giving us the normal high school experience. At Remsel, you'll hear people say, learn to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Remsel teaches students to step out of their comfort zone and take life on as an adventure. We go on these as an entire high school. That's part of what builds a strong community and amazing connections between faculty, teachers, and students. Standing out and being different is what makes Remsel's community different from any other school that stands in your district. Giving your students less of an advantage to be able to have these experiences can not only limit a student's potential, but it can stop the world from gaining another perspective that's different from everyone else's. At Remsel, the ideas of creativity and craftsmanship are both encouraged and valued. We as students are challenged to think critically and from different perspectives and to get off our phones and see the world with our own eyes. You don't have expeditionary learning options in your district, but kids are all different, meaning different kids need different environments to learn and thrive in. So my question is, why take the opportunities for students in your district to have this option to set themselves up for the most success, both academically and personally? I ask that you rescind this decision. Thanks for your time.
Good evening. Excuse me. I'm Ruthie Knowles, and a parent in this district. First, I want to thank the members of the Board of Education for all the time you volunteer being on the board. I appreciate the work you do very much. Tonight, I'm coming to discuss community engagement, specifically engagement of parents who are not fluent in English. I am proud to live in the Overland Feeder area where we have the most diversity in the district. Over 25%, over 1/4 of Overland students' population are ELL, or English language learners. This means that at least 25%, and probably well more than 25% of our parents or guardians are not fluent in English. When I've talked with our ELL teachers and district cultural liaisons, I hear about parents who want to be more involved in the district, but they require interpreters, and so few meetings regularly provide interpretive services. I'm asking that the Board of Education please consider having interpreters at your meetings on a regular basis. You could start with 1 or 2 interpreters and commit to having them at those meetings for the rest of the school year. You can then expand to more interpreters in other languages. And hopefully we can expand interpreters to other parent meetings in the district. I also want to thank the district for launching Talking Points. I'd like to encourage you to use talking points at this district level, including hopefully letting parents know about meetings that will regularly have interpreters. I have more ideas on the matter and would be happy to help in any way I can with this endeavor. Please reach out to me anytime. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bill Vanderlucht. I'm the parent of 2 small children in the district, and I'd simply like to applaud the efforts of everyone who made possible the report we just heard about the increase of attracting and retaining teachers of color in the district. This seems especially appropriate as we are just a week away from Martin Luther King Day. I remember last year when I talked to my son about Martin Luther King, I was kind of shocked to hear how much he knew and delighted that even a young first grader was being taught about the importance of Dr. King's legacy. But I have to say I was also kind of taken aback because it's such a hard conversation to have, even with my own kid, about race in this country. When my son tries to explain to me what Dr. King's legacy means, I know as someone who studied history in college and took a class in the civil rights movement, just how hated Dr. King was in his own life. And today, everybody likes to quote Dr. King and argue that he would support whatever positions they advocate. But the reality is that he made enormous sacrifices, that he was well aware that he would likely be assassinated for his efforts to build justice in our country. And he did it anyway. I can't imagine going arm in arm, marching across Edmund Pettus Bridge, knowing that people in uniforms representing the state's authority were going to cudgel us on the other side. It's kind of shocking for me to think about a father making that kind of sacrifice, knowing that he would likely not live to see his kids married and be happy. And so I want to say I just appreciate the efforts of everyone who recognizes the importance of attracting diverse teachers, the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in our schools to make sure we truly all are committed to building the kind of country that Dr. King gave his life to build. So thank you for your efforts.
President Bates, that's all for tonight.
Thank you. All right, before we move on to consideration of the resolutions, are there any resolutions that our board members would like to pull or discuss? All right, then may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda resolution as amended earlier tonight?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as it was amended earlier tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Directors Allen.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Egan.
Aye.
Garland.
Aye.
McDonald.
Aye.
All right, thank you. That motion passes. The only other remaining business is to announce our next regular Board of Education meeting, Monday, February 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Horizon Community Middle School, 3981 South Reservoir Road, Aurora, Colorado, 80016. Thank you for attending this meeting this evening. Please keep yourself and your loved ones safe. Remember, the best way to be informed with actual facts is by attending meetings at your local schools and other board meetings. We hope to see you all in person next month. May I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Directors Allen.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Egan.
Aye.
Garland.
Aye.
McDonald.
Thank you. That motion passes and we are adjourned.